Hello, everyone. I'm Sophia Bernard, creator of Esquire in Love.
And I am Dr. Shari Caliker, creator of Dr. Mrs. And welcome to the Huxtabelles podcast. Welcome back, I should say. Yeah. Welcome back.
Tonight, we're drinking San Antonio wine. It's a sweet wine. The winery is located in Los Angeles, California. It's sweet, but it's not like a juicy Moscato. It's more of like a subtle sweet. I like it. It's one of my favorite wines.
Yeah. So I do not like sweet wines, but it does taste like a communion juice, like a little ocean spray with a dab of alcohol. Even if you're not a sweet wine drinker, you can get through it. I plan to get through it today.
It gets the job done.
It gets the job done, yes. And if you have a partner, like my husband loves sweet wine, so this would be one that we could share where I could get through it and he would be like, oh my gosh, this is just the best thing since whatever.
One night has something you can take home and show him.
Hey, all right. We'll write this one down. So what do you think you could? This is almost tastes like another sangria type wine to me.
Yeah, it tastes like the base. Like there's that one restaurant in St. Augustine, a Colombian restaurant, and they do like their sangria fresh right in front of you. I can't remember the name right now, but it tastes like kind of the base that they use.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I would think it's like it tastes kind of like a step below like Merlot. It's not as dry, but it's not like super sweet.
Yeah. Have you been to San Sebastian like on a Saturday when they have like live music and stuff like that?
I have. The rooftop is lovely.
I love it. So if you live in the Jacksonville area or if you're visiting, I definitely suggest going to San Sebastian Winery. They have you can taste the wines, but they also have like live music on the roof, like overlooking the water. It's really, really, really nice.
Okay, so our topic for today is combating fear. What I think is that, a lot of times people can probably attribute their failures or, whatever they think is a failure to fear. I think fear can be a serious impediment, especially when you're in your career and you're trying to advance in your career and, become something more than what you currently are. And you have like these huge dreams and you want to accomplish a lot of things. Or if you want to be an entrepreneur, start your own thing, whatever you want to do, I definitely think it's important to take a look into yourself and realize like, fear is impeding me right now and it's stopping me from being greater than what I could be. Do you have like any examples of when you had fear and it almost stopped you, but didn't stop you, or maybe it did stop you?
Yeah. So actually when that kind of, I feel like honestly, when you're pursuing like any type of degree, but especially like higher level where everything seems like it's like make or break, I feel like you just live in this constant state of fear of like, I'm not going to do good enough, or I'm not going to like make my goal or things like that. But I remember like even before, I got into med school, back when I was even applying, I took the MCAT twice. I did terrible both times. So I just kind of was like, well, I don't really see myself getting into any med schools with this terrible MCAT score. So I'll just go to get a master's and then I'll reapply later. Like that was my plan. And like I talked to my parents about it, and both of them were kind of like, well, how are you going to count yourself out? Like you didn't even try. So just apply. Like, even though I was applying with my money, I didn't get any monetary help to apply. But they say, just apply and let them tell you no, but you don't tell yourself no. So that was kind of the beginning of my journey, was just combating that fear of like feeling like I wasn't good enough to get into med school. And I feel like that almost like followed me like throughout my journey, because I was always like, I tell a lot of people like all you need is one yes, which is very true because that's all I had. I actually just had one wait list. Like it wasn't even a yes.
That's so funny. That's like similar to my story. Yeah. I had a terrible LSAT score. It was really bad, and I didn't feel like taking it again. I was like, this is dumb. I'm not taking it again. Maybe it's just not meant to be. Even though like I knew I wanted to be a lawyer, my dad told me the same thing. He was like, all you really need is one yes. Just apply and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I applied. I got a whole bunch of no's. And then I got a maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was like a conditional acceptance, but I had to do like a summer course where I took like a second year level law class, and I had to like get like passing grades in it.
Yeah.
So that's how I got in. But it just really took that one yes, and me learning not to count myself out. Or
Right.
I mean, it's important to have someone in your corner, because if my dad didn't tell me that,
Right.
and he wasn't in my corner, then maybe I probably just wouldn't be.
Yeah, because it really is like, and a lot of it, if you talk to a lot of professionals, of course there are some people that are, they get the scores and they go right in and, they're accepted. And I always praise those people, because I'm like, I know how hard that it is to achieve that goal. And I think that that's really wonderful. But I also think that it's important for people to understand that there are also those of us, probably more than those people that just go straight through, that have had to be talked into continuing to go forward. And like, even if you fail a test or you don't do as well, or, everybody else is understanding something that you aren't, not just like kind of laying down and giving up, but like really just taking the time that you need to just like process whatever, and then get back on the horse and keep going. Because honestly, that is the lesson, like the biggest lesson in life is just like to always keep moving forward, to not get knocked down and stay down, but to like really try to get back up and like, okay, let me just reassess some things. Let me move some things around. What worked, what didn't work, and then try again.
And that's really the thing about fear is, you can listen to like all these like motivational messages and quotes, but like, both of us had someone in our corner. You need that extra little nudge, because what fear does is it pretty much, it's a combination of like self-doubt and naysayers. So if you're doubting yourself, and then there's someone out there who's like telling you, you can't do it, or maybe, you're looking at statistics and the statistics tell you that you're never going to be great. That combination it's enough to keep you down, and it's emotionally draining. It takes a lot out of you, and you just really need to find someone who's in your corner to help you get that little nudge, but also you need to find it within yourself to want to like rise above that. So for me, what I used to do to make sure that, I could get up every morning and go forward and make sure like I was studying for my classes, and not only studying, but really mentally preparing myself. I wrote on my mirror, and I wrote, I can, I will, I'm able. I looked at those words every morning. I repeated them to myself. I made it part of my study schedule. So I wasn't only studying the material, I was studying like, self, like motivational, like words that motivate myself and make myself rise above whatever my fear was.
So do you feel like is that just something that you like is innate within you, is to like just know like, okay, this is what I need to do to like make sure that I'm staying on the right path? Because like for me, I feel like my journey was more so like, just thank God that I had people in my corner like, hey girl, come on. Like get it together. Or like, just me going to church on Sundays and then like crying for an hour and then like going back home and studying. Like, I feel like that was like, those were I always had like a outside source to kind of like pick me up. I never really like said, okay, I need to do this specific thing. Like you said, like writing down in the mirror, like repeating that every day. Like I kind of got into mantras like later on in life, like a couple months ago. But I feel like when I was going through it, I was more so, because I guess I was just so focused on like getting the grade and doing those things. I'm just like, okay, I just need to be in a good enough headspace to be able to remember this material and like test well and like not give up, because I feel like I'm drinking from a water hose that's going full force. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, I personally don't think I would have been able to get the grades without doing that mantra.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like natural. I'm a former athlete, and my coach used to make us do mantras like as part of practice and before races and things like that, because I ran track. So that's really where I got it from. And I kind of like, I did a parallel with my law school journey, to running track. Like, the first year was like the first one, the first 100 meters, second year, second 100 meters, third year, third 100 meters. And then the last stretch was the bar exam. So I kind of made that parallel. And I know that not everyone's an athlete and they don't have that. And so that's why I stress, like, you know, you really need someone in your corner because not everyone has it in them. And it's okay if you don't. And like, there's nothing wrong with that. But having the right support team, the right circle that really can push you and get you over that hump.
Yeah. Because that's all I had. I mean, I feel like I was pretty disciplined, like to a point. But then I was also like, let me just take a break. I probably just need to watch this one show real quick and just, and I'll get back to it when I'm done. And then like,
you can't say no to Love and Hip Hop.
No. And then so it would be funny because like my friend, like my study buddy that I used to study with, shout out to John Tall. So we used to get up early in the morning, like go to a library and study. And then we would take a break from lunch, like come back, study till dinner time. He would go home, like have dinner with his family. And like we would like, and after that, we would kind of study at home or whatever. This is when we were studying for a step, and which is kind of like one of the big series of 3 like tests that you have to pass in order to become even eligible to sit for your boards. So yeah, girl. So so it would be so funny because I would be like having those moments and he'll be like, are you watching a movie or are you studying? And I'm like, all right, let me like get back on it. But you know what I'm saying? It was good to have somebody like that also knows me and can check me like, hey girl, like there's no time for play. Like we have a test to pass. Get off the phone, stop watching TV, like sit down, let's study, let's get it done.
And that's what your team should do.
Yeah. And like eventually it became ingrained in me because I'm like, well, I'm not going to keep pushing this test back. And Donovan told me that I could not push it back anymore. And honestly, I got tired of studying. So I'm like, let me just buckle down, do what I need to do, like, and get it done. And thank God, you know, I passed and everything was good, but definitely without that support system, like from him, like my parents, my friends, like one of my friends sent me a card in the mail, like just with like a Starbucks gift card, like just cheering you on, like I'm so happy for you, like you're gonna do great, like little stuff like that is just like, dang, okay, like I got this.
Did you ever have like a moment where you just felt like, you know, there's no way I can do this, and how did you get yourself out of it?
Yes, I had a couple of those moments. That, yeah, you just feel like this, you know what, this is just too much. Like maybe this isn't for me. I think that more so came like in residency. So I think like, so I went to HBCU for med school. And so I think that kind of like gave me this unrealistic idea of like what it was to be like in a professional environment, period. Because it's different being around a lot of people that look like you, that can relate to the things that you're saying, that are, you know, truly based on just pure merit and that's it. Because we all look alike. We all look the same. And the attendings look like us too. So, and then you come into like a majority white space and you notice like just the things that they pay attention to are not the same things that you're used to being graded on. Like, I'm good. I'm a worker. Like, I may not be the smartest person, even though I am, but you know what I'm saying? I may not be the smartest person in the room, but I'm going to show up on time. I'm going to be respectful. Like, I'm going to make sure that I have everything that I need in order to like help my team to be successful. But sometimes that's not enough when you come into majority spaces. It's like, you can feel like if you breathe wrong, that it's a problem, you know, or if you like, but then, you know, your counterpart who is white may be able to just say a whole wrong paragraph and everyone's just like, okay, maybe not so much, but I think we can still work with it. Like, you know, but if you breathe wrong, you step too far out the line. It's like, what are you doing? Like this, like clearly that's not going to work. Like that can't be it. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, like having that doubt for me was very it was like a lot because I wasn't used to that. Like I'm used to being successful. I'm used to like being smart. I'm used to getting the good grades. I'm used to like, you know, being generally liked by people. Like when I say things, people can understand and respond appropriately. And like I wasn't getting that in the beginning when I was in residency. So for me, that was a really big adjustment. And I would say how I got over it. Sorry, I'm going to talk to y'all about therapy every single episode. But one, I went to therapy because it was getting to a point where I would just, like, I could say I was probably had a little bit of depression going on. Like, and it's just very hard to focus in a space where you're supposed to be taking care of others and you're not able to take care of yourself. And it was getting to that point where I wasn't able to like do that, either one effectively. So I chose to go to therapy. And like I always say, I had a lot of like kind of family issues that I needed to work through, but I also had a lot of like just work issues and like how it feels to be a minority in a majority space and those things that happen, and like realizing that like it's not just me. This isn't just an experience that I experienced. This is an experience that people that have had jobs in majority spaces experience all the time. And these are the tools that you can use to get through that space. So how I kind of combated it was I just started being myself. Like, this is who I am. You could take it or leave it. I'm not like, I'm doing my work. I'm smart. I'm not going to do anything that's going to kill anybody. Like, so you could take it or leave it. I'm not going to change who I am to fit your mold of what you think a doctor should look like, or to fit your mold of what you think a resident should be doing. Like, I am not that person, and I've never fit in anybody's mold. Like, even in my family, I am the black sheep. I don't fit that. I just don't. I've always been the rebel. Always. So I'm never going to be that person, but I'm still a really great person if you like take the time to get to know me instead of focusing on what you think that I'm not. Mm-hmm. And slowly but surely that, you know, things started changing, the table started turning, and you know, I really learned from that experience, which is just like, you know, at the end of the day, like, you have to create a space that's comfortable for you to thrive in. You can't be so worried about what this person might be thinking or saying or all these things, because the people that know, and the people that don't will find out. But none of that is anything that you can be concerned with, because at the end of the day, like, you're here for a purpose. You know, you're in this situation, you're at this program, you are a physician, like, you're dealing with these people, you're in these people's lives for a reason. So focus on that and focus on like developing yourself as a physician and a person, and not so much about, well, what does this person think, or what are they saying about me, or they don't think that I'm that person, or they don't like me because I'm black. I don't have time to deal with that. I have time. I need to be this person so that when I leave this space, I am a capable physician. So let me focus on that, and like, let my personality shine through, because I feel like that is what makes me different. And if that's something that you're not interested in, then that's too bad for you. But I can't be anybody else other than me. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question. I feel like it's kind of long-winded.
No, but I mean, those are some good points. A lot of fear is really like being concerned with what other people think of you, because you have that two factor. It's like your own self-doubt, and then the naysayers. Yeah. And you feel like the naysayers are confirming what you already know, but that's really not true. You have to understand like that. It's the devil. Yeah. Seriously. It's something there it's a distraction. It's not real. And I mean, you did a really good job at like coming out of it, but therapy is another good method. If you don't have like a good support staff, or, you know, your family's not that great, your friends suck, which they do a lot of times. Damn. Therapy is another good avenue. I mean, it's a neutral, and, you know, you're going to get the honest truth. So I think, you know, it's important to recognize that you have fear. And I think one way to recognize that fear is being an impediment in your life is to, you know, think about it. Like, is there something, are you able to, if you're physically able to do something, but something in your mind tells you that you cannot do it, that's fear. And you need to recognize that, understand it, and learn how to combat it, and, you know, pull strong people in your circle. I mean, they say like your network is your net worth, and that's really true, because your network, they're your mental support, your emotional support. You know, they introduce you to different people that help your career, they guide your love life, they do a lot for you. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with positive people who are able to help you drive in a positive fashion.
Yeah.
So do you have any tips for combating fear?
So I think, like you said, kind of there's like the first way to combat it is to recognize that it's there. And I feel like a lot of times we don't recognize our response to certain things as being fear. And so I think that it's important to kind of notice those kind of red flags of like, you know, is this something that am I thinking, is this all in my head type thing? Like, is this something that I'm going back and forth with me?
Is there a third party in this conversation?
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, am I like being critical of myself because I see A, B, and C going on and I don't feel like I'm there, and like you know, whatever. So that was my thing. Like the biggest, I would say, kind of factor in noticing fear is like kind of if you're comparing yourself to other people and like really being critical of yourself through comparison.
Is a thief of joy.
Amen. It is. So I really think that that's something that, especially with social media, is like super tough. But one thing that I have done to kind of limit that is just limit my time on social media. So I give myself like 3 times a day, because I do a lot with social media. So I just can't say like, I'm only going to be on social media for 5 minutes. Like life just doesn't work like that for me, as somebody that uses social media as a platform. But I do limit it to like 10 to 15 minutes in the morning, same and during like lunchtime or whatever, and then in the evening like 10 to 15 minutes, and then just no phone after like 10.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah.
But social media is a really good point, because I think that, I mean, in today's age, social media is probably the driving force in fear, because one of the things that fear tells you is that you can't do it because you won't be successful because the market is convoluted.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
And I think for us, like, we both probably share that same experience. Like, it was difficult to create a blog.
Yeah.
When you go on social media and you see 1,000 bloggers talking about the same thing, you know, how do I separate myself? And, you know, once you don't worry about them, like your only competition really is yourself.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe that.
Yeah.
So it's really hard with social media, but you have to just take yourself out of it. Because so what, 1,000 people are doing it. You're not them. You're yourself.
Exactly. And I had to have the same conversation several times with myself. Like, it just doesn't matter what they're doing. They are not you. We can all have the same idea, and we can all help each other and promote each other and get to the next level. But we all also have to start somewhere. And, you know, I think the sooner you kind of realize that and become just comfortable in that space of like, I'm doing this for me, and then if I can help at least one other person, because that's what I started saying to myself, like before I would post my blogs and stuff like that, you know, I'm writing this because this is something that I think is important. And if I help at least one other person, that is awesome. If I can just help one person. And like, I would have like people texting me or like sending messages like, this was so awesome. Like, thank you so much for writing about this. And it's just like confirmation, like, thank you, God, for this, like for this blessing that at least one person found what I wrote about also important. Like, just because I wrote it, don't make it important.
I love the platform. Yeah. I mean, when I was little, I always felt like, you know, I'm supposed to help people.
Yeah.
So I love having the platform. But if you guys have any questions about fear, or you have a specific question, make sure you send us an email at Huxtabelles at
the Huxtabelles THEHUXTABELLES @gmail.com. Yes, and just let us know if you've had any like personal journeys through fear or any tips that you have for getting through fear. I mean, this is an evolution. By no means have we conquered fear, but these are just tips that we have used to kind of help streamline our lives so that we don't allow that sneaky fear and doubt to keep us from fulfilling the promise that God has for our lives.
Yes. All right. So the travel tip of the week.
Travel tip, girl.
So one of my favorite places is Cuba. Havana, Cuba. It is literally little Miami. I mean, you go to that city and it has every remnants of you look at South Beach and you look at Little Havana, Old Havana actually, and it is beautiful. It looks exactly the same, and you can tell that Miami definitely designed South Beach to be like Old Havana. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm speechless. The food isn't that great. Maybe I didn't go to that many good places, but I mean, I love Cuban food, and I wasn't that impressed when I went there. But everything is super cheap. We went to a nightclub and it was $2 to get in, $5 for VIP.
Dang.
I had a whole section balling out for $5. The flights are super easy to get to. JetBlue is my go-to for that. It's super low round trip fares. It's a direct flight, super short flight, less than an hour to get to Cuba from Orlando, Florida. If you're coming from Miami or Fort Lauderdale, even shorter amount of time.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
That's where I flew from.
Oh, Fort Lauderdale? Yeah. I mean, it's a short, straight trip. One of my suggestions before you go there is make sure you print out your Airbnb address and make sure it's the correct address. And just print out everything beforehand because there is no internet. You have to go to a park with specific for Wi-Fi or a hotel lobby. But if you're staying at Airbnb, you're not going to have any internet. And it's better to stay at Airbnb because the hotels are kind of pricey. They're a lot pricier than other places. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't gone yet, go to Cuba.
Yeah, I went a couple of years ago. I was lucky. One of my best friend lives there. She used to live there, so I didn't have to worry about any of the Wi-Fi issues or anything, or getting around because she had a car and everything. So, and she kind of took us to all the cool spots, and so I really enjoyed my time in Cuba as well. I thought it was beautiful. It's literally like being in a time capsule.
Yeah.
And I think that's the interesting thing is just getting adjusted, knowing that when was that? 2016 I went. So knowing that it's 2016, but feeling like it's 1950.
Yeah.
It's definitely dope and also surreal at the same time.
Oh, and also bring toilet paper.
Oh, really?
Because they don't apparently you have to bring toilet paper. It's very limited.
See, we had a different experience. We had a very different experience, which is fine.
We were at,
but I didn't have any issues with toilet paper.
We went to a museum and we went to the bathroom and it was no toilet paper in any stall. So we had to go outside and ask the attendant. They hold it. You have to ask them for it, and they give you just amount, exactly enough. What you need.
Did you? But so which club did you go to?
I don't remember the name. It was at this hotel, and it looked like South Beach. It was on the rooftop of this hotel, and it was beautiful.
Oh, that's nice.
I wish I could remember the name of it.
Yeah, we went to the art museum. I don't remember the name of it. I should have looked it up before we came. I can look it up real quick. But we went to the art museum, and it was super dope because it was a museum, but it also had different areas, clubs. They had food in there, kind of a rooftop area, almost like at the museum downtown where they have that courtyard in the middle. Yeah. It's very similar to that. Yeah. But yes, so we have come to the question portion. So again, if you have any questions, not just about fear, but anything that you would like for us to talk about, answer, figure out if we can help you live your best life, you can send it to the Huxtabelles@gmail.com. That is
we'll put it in the description.
HUXTABELLES@gmail.com. So we have one question that we'll talk about today. So, and remember, all your questions are anonymous. So I am part of a group of friends that have been friends since high school. Most of us have moved out of our hometown, but we meet up ever so often when I go back home to catch up. The problem always comes when my friends want to take trips. I'm a single parent and have a young child, so my time and my funds are limited. Most of the times they are trying to plan trips. Most of the times they try to plan trips are either not given enough time to plan financially or plan during a time when my child is in school. I do not have family here that can take care of my child while I'm gone. I'm getting annoyed because they are mad that I can't make the trips, and they are annoyed because they think I don't want to be a part of the group. How do I help them understand my limitations as it pertains to being a single mother and traveling?
Well, my first advice is to get new friends because if those are your real friends,
Is the first advice though, like dump them all, get rid of them all?
Because that's not something you need to explain to people. I mean, if they're your friends and they see you struggling, like you're a single mother, none of your family lives there, they should be understanding of that. And secondly, and maybe you should consider that you probably don't even really want to be a part of that group, because if you did, you would find a way to. Even if they're planning trips that are inconvenient for you, then take the initiative and plan a trip that is convenient for you and invite all your friends to hang out with them. So maybe you just don't have the right time commitment because you don't want to make the time for them and you don't want to be friends with them. And it's a people grow apart every day.
But, I mean, maybe, because I'm like, okay, if you've been friends with these people since high school, it's going to be super hard for you to just throw the whole friendship away, girl. Yeah. Just like, pack it up in a glad bag and keep it moving. But maybe she wants to,
because if she didn't, then she can just plan the trip.
But that would be a suggestion. Maybe she didn't think about that. Trip.
You're right.
Maybe that didn't cross her mind. Like maybe, but I mean, I totally I get what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying, but I know, like, for me, I'm very loyal person. It takes a lot for if I have built up the energy and the love in my heart to be your friend, it's very, very hard for me to not be your friend anymore. It's actually unhealthy. I'm working through it, but so I could definitely see not wanting to not be friends with them anymore. But I also understand what you're saying. It's sometimes we do grow up and we grow apart. And if it was something that was important to me, I would make it happen.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the real thing about, and maybe that's why she's not doing the second suggestion, is because the real thing about group trips is no one wants to plan them.
Right. Exactly.
Because no one wants to chase everyone around.
Exactly.
Hey, money's due.
Exactly.
So maybe that's why she doesn't want to do it, but it is a headache. But I mean, if these are people that you truly care about, that's one way to do it if you don't want to throw all them away.
That's actually a really good suggestion. My suggestion was a little less rash. So I was just going to, I was literally just going to say maybe just really sit down and have a real conversation. It's reiterate hey, so, last time we had this conversation, I kind of felt like y'all were mad at me because I couldn't go on the trip, whatever. And so just to let you know again, I do have a child. I'm by myself. I'm not really getting a lot of help. I'm financially strapped. So where I spend my time and how I spend my money is really, really crucial. And so it's not that I don't want to spend time, but I really do have, things that take priority over me dropping everything and going to Miami.
Yeah.
So that was my suggestion, but I do, I could also see that just I'm friends with these people, but not really friends, not friends enough where I want to inconvenience myself to go on a trip.
Yeah. That could be it too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you really, really care, I mean, plan it around a holiday, send a kid to the grandparents' house.
Yeah.
And then.
But I think the biggest thing here is we have to be honest with ourselves first to figure out and honestly, is this something that I really want to do? Yes or no?
Maybe her friends are not jerks, right? So maybe they're seeing that she doesn't really want to hang out with them.
Yes.
That could be it too.
Yeah.
Because they can't, I mean, I don't know how many of them there are, but like they all can't be jerks. Hopefully.
See, you see how I just wanted to let everybody know how I just warmed Sophia's little cold, lawyery heart, okay? Because first she said, throw the whole group away. Now she said, oh, well, maybe they're not all bad.
One of them is, at least. One of them can be thrown away.
Oh, I warmed your little heart. Come on over to the dark side. We have cookies.
I love cookies.
Yes. Yeah. So I think there's a couple, there's a lot of good words in there. So some gems we dropped. So I definitely think first you really do need to have a come to Jesus moment and say, you know, is it something I want to do or is it not something I want to do? Like, am I just really let me just chill with you when I come home when we're all in town. We could just hang out, but not necessarily go on a trip friends. Because that's fine. You don't have to go on a trip with all your friends. Some of your friends are just happy hour friends. Like, some of your friends are just talk on the phone, text friends. Yeah. Like,
send you memes.
Right, exactly.
Send me back some memes.
Send me back meme friends. Exactly.
Communicate through memes.
Some of your friends are travel buddies.
Yeah.
And so, you know, every friendship doesn't have to be a travel.
And high school was so long ago. I mean, I don't know how old she is, but high school is probably like a long time ago, and people grow apart. Yeah,
a lot has changed since for most of us, are like completely different people than we were when we were in high school. I'm sure.
Facebook reminds me how annoying I was. Oh
my gosh!
And I wasn't even in high school; I was in college, but I was super annoying.
Yeah, so that's our suggestion, girl. We really hope that you work through it, get your friendships back on track, or, you know, just reset the friendship. Like, okay, this is where we were. How long was high school? 10 years ago?
12,
20?
10. Let's say 10. I like 10.
Okay, 10. So, you know, high school was 10 years ago. We've gone off. We've done these things, and we're still cool. But this is kind of where we are now. No shade. But it is what it is. Tiny bit. Yeah. So hope we answered that. I think we did a pretty thorough job.
Yeah, I think we did.
I think we've established also who's good cop and bad cop here.
For now.
The doctor saves and the lawyer chops. Good. So that was good. But yes. So again, questions, comments, concerns, just send us an email to thehuxtabelles@gmail.com. I spelled it 17 times during this episode. So if you didn't hear me, just rewind.
So thank you guys for joining us a second time, our second episode, and see you next time.
We will see you next time. Bye.